And then I heard the gunshots and I heard them drop. So I teared up. Thought that we've all watched, the former president get assassinated on live TV. You should be able to vote for whoever you want to, and that should never be a problem. For the first time, I took a stance. The second you start to celebrate somebody's attempted assassination, fuck you.
Yeah.
That's my stance. But somebody lost their life who was just there, had nothing to do with anything, who was a firefighter, who possibly could have ran in a house and saved you from a burning building or house, regardless of what your political stance were. Miss weight or something like by a pound or two, right? Or whatever it is. And the other guy has an opportunity to rehydrate the next day. Well, if you rehydrate too much, you too far or you too less. Like I've had guys to weigh in. One guy made it, the other one didn't by 2 pounds. Then the next day, the guy who weighed in, it was fine that they had to re-weigh in, was too hydrated, way too much. Like it went the other way. Huh. So I just think that needs to be, more.
Yeah, I think that's going to cause problems. Oh, okay, that's cool. We'll just edit and cut stuff.
Yeah.
All right. MMA Weekly here with Shawne Merriman, NFL linebacker extraordinaire, played for San Diego Chargers. I don't know a whole lot about football.
So I want to tell you something that's absolutely hilarious. You know me, we've been friends for a while. I like to laugh and talk shit. So he goes, "Oh, I'm not too familiar with football, but I have heard of Shawne." And I said, in a text to fuck with him, I said, "Yeah, he's the first openly gay football player." His response to that text was a laugh emoji. So I figured he knew I was full of shit.
Right.
I pull up here today, and he calls me, and he says, "So, you think he'll be okay with me asking him questions about being gay?"
I've been on Wikipedia, and I went through the whole thing, and I can't find it. Did he come out yet? Because I don't want to
listen.
say
So
anything.
what you should have done? You should have played that shit out, dude. I would have played along with it. I came in.
You're a big dude.
And I was just like, listen. The first time I started to really go down that path, I would have bought into this shit, man. We could have just played. Damn, you should have told me, dude.
I was 50-50 with it.
I was like, dude, I had all these. I had the transgenders fighting and MMA, and I was going to ask him. It was like.
Oh man, I was dying.
Can I still ask you the questions? Just pretend. That's so much fun.
Look, this shit could go south, right? Real fast. But dude, honestly, I wish you would have said something because I would have played along with that shit, man. We could have got him. We could have got him back.
Oh my goodness. Well, I appreciate you coming. It's always good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah, he's came on the other show I was on. Always showed me support. I had 100 followers, and he didn't care. He still came in. What's been going on with you? I see you traveling. You're doing everything. I know your schedule's tight, but
yeah, it's been crazy. So I just launched Lights Out Sports TV, my own streaming service. It's like a free ad-supported multi-sport streaming service. So we got like everything on there, dude. Like TNA Wrestling's on there, Chess is on there, Mav TV, Speed Vision, Pursuits, like Outdoor America, all your outdoor fishing, hunting. So. I've been in like the TV business, man, for like a long time, and so I had the pleasure of working at all these big networks and seeing like the launch of shows, the launch of network. I was at the WWE launch of their network, so I knew the business and I knew all the major players in streaming, right? And so I was like, if Fubo, my fights were on Fubo, they were at Fubo, Bally's, Amazon Freevee. I think we're on BN Sports, which is on Pluto, Swerve Combat, and like. Possibly 2 other platforms, but all the live fights now is on Lights Out Sports TV because people come and they'll watch the fight, but then we got other stuff there, so they stay. Oh. And so, like Friday, I'm launching. We got 250 sports movies and documentaries going up. I did a big movie deal, which is massive because again, we got a fight, and then people come there and watch the fight, and then they got other stuff to sit there and watch, man. And I wanted to make it free. I'm tired of these days. I'm tired of subscriptions. Like, I don't know about y'all, man, but I'm subscribed to every streaming service there is out there. And it's just my credit card's in is hitting my account every single month. And so when I was coming up with this idea, I said the last thing I want to do is be another bill to somebody. So now we're on like Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, iOS, Android. Vizio will be up next week. Philips and LG is already up. So yeah, we got distribution everywhere.
It's like Fight Pass kind of, but for
Yeah.
you.
I'm trying to, I'm trying to get some of the fights on for Lights Out Extreme Fighting on Fight Pass now. Yeah. Because I think to me personally, when it comes to combat sports, I think Fight Pass is the best across the board because they got a little bit of everything. So
they just got. I'm friends with Zoltan from Five Finger Death Punch. They just got his grappling on there. You just hit up, Dana. Yeah.
So how did you get from the football into what was the impetus?
Dude, so I was a good friend of mine over at Fox Sports, Jay Glazer. He was a broadcaster over there. So I grew up boxing. My uncles were professional boxers. So naturally, I just, from where I grew up in PG County, Maryland, Washington, D.C., we just grew up boxing. So I was hitting the mitts one day in the gym, and Jay looked over and said, "Oh, shit, you can box." I said, "Yeah, a little bit. I'm not a professional boxer, but I can go. Have you tried MMA? I think it'll help you out in football." So he texted me a number. Texted me an address. The next day I showed up, and it was at Randy Couture's gym when it was in L.A.
Okay.
And so I went in there with Randy the first day, and I was pummeling and doing groundwork and a lot of hand combat stuff. And I just saw, what it did for me as a football player. And so I started training with all these guys. So all the big-name guys in the mid-2000s, I started hanging and training with them after I was done with my football workouts. And so that's how I got into the business. And then I ended up launching my own promotion in the end of 2019. So it's been crazy, man. We're a regional program, regional organization, but it's kind of grown the last 2 years, beyond
so much.
Yeah,
it's grown a lot. Year I've seen it blow up. Everybody's going.
Did it help your football?
I came out that following year and led the NFL in sacks because I was using my hands for the first time. When you get there to the NFL, your talent, I was explosive, I was fast, and I was big, so you can do a lot of stuff because you're just athletic, right? But you get to the point where you start seeing those all pros, those guys that 7-time, 8-time all pros, that it don't matter. You got to use your hands and techniques. So that was my first time ever really learning how to use my hands. So that's why you see a lot of these guys now doing pummeling during the offseason, hand combat drills. More and more people, more and more football players can get introduced to wrestling and combat sports because it's helping them out on the field.
And now you were it looked like you were possibly going to put your toe into fighting.
Yeah.
Because you were going to get into there was a Japanese promotion.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was initially. So initially, I was planning on fighting for Bellator.
Okay.
And it never happened because at the time, you got to think I retired in 2013. This whole celebrity influencer stuff didn't get big till 2019 or 20.
Right.
So I was ahead of my time for the money that I was looking for. And it was just crazy to them for what I was asking for. Now it's a starting point.
Right.
It's a starting point what I was asking for. Because I was training the whole time. So I was at NFL Network doing the broadcasting stuff, and I was at WWE Network. And then this opportunity came up to fight was I was like, okay, cool, let's do it. And so they just never came to the table. And then that was it. That was the main time I was spending. Look, fighting's one of those things, man, that you don't play around. Either you do it or you don't, right? It's not basketball. It's not football. It's one of those things that if you decide to do it, you better dedicate that portion of your life to it, and then that's it. Because if you don't, bad shit's gonna happen. Because we've seen some athletes go in there and not be successful.
Yeah. So are you going to keep Lights Out because?
That would have been your nickname, right?
Chris Lytle has Lights Out.
Yeah.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, but he doesn't own it. I own it. Which is why you don't see him wearing no Lights Out T-shirts and all that shit because I own all that. But yeah, Chris is the real deal, man. He can go.
So what would if you had fought? What's your strong point?
I'm a stand-up. I've always been a stand-up guy. So even when I was training, the problem is with former athletes, and I'll say football players most, when they kind of venture off into MMA, you're going to go against some guys that's just better than you because they've been doing it longer. So the first thing I tell any guy, when Greg Hardy first started, I remember talking to him, dude, you're never going to be that great on the ground. Not this late in the game.
Right.
What you have to learn is how to not get taken down, and then if you do, how to get back up. That's what you need to learn, your takedown defense and how you get back up. Because you want to make everybody stand up. That was always my thing. So some guys, if they took me down, I would just learn how to get back up, and I just make the fight on my feet. But you're going to get into a situation where guys have just been doing it longer than you, and they're better, and there's nothing you can do about it other than try to stay away from your weak points. And that was really my game plan going into it.
Did you ever do any amateur fights, or I'm sure it would have been impossible for you to get somebody to fight you?
No, you know what? So I didn't really need the amateur fights because I was having real life sparring matches 2 and 3 times a week with like some bigger name guys who were way more experienced than I was, and I was able to hold my own. So that's why I was gauging where I was at, right? So all the coaches and gyms and stuff in the country that I would go train at, big gym, Florida, L.A., San Diego, here, train at Extreme Couture. So like I would go against some guys who've been at it for a long time, so I would gauge and see where I was at, but as far as taking an exhibition fight or even amateur fight, for me, it wouldn't have made any sense because I was never going to make a career out of it. I was going to have a couple fights and be done, type of deal. But that was it.
Have you sparred Francis at all? I know it's the same
No,
gym.
but it's funny. I am talking to Eric, and I don't want to go there and get some work with him. I ran into them on the way out of Extreme Couture the other day. And let me tell you, dude, Francis in person is a very he's just an intimidating looking dude.
It's crazy to hear someone.
Even
I'm gonna tell you why, because Francis is built like a NFL player. He's built like a D tackle, broad shoulders, big legs. Like, a lot of these guys are more skilled, but they're not really like
Stipe. He looks
like Stipe, right?
Yeah.
Like great wrestler and all that stuff. But you see him, and Stipe's big, but Francis is massive. Yeah. And I remember he the first time some years ago. And they got the open floor. They were sparring there was pro sparring matches. And Francis walked in. I think he had on like all blue, like this tight fit and dry fits. And I was walking
like the Tick.
Yeah, dude. I'm running. I'm doing sprints on the treadmill. And I'm going back getting some water on the other side. I look over and I say, "The fuck?" I was like, "What is that?" And he reminds me of like a bigger DN or D tackle. Right, that's athletic, and so you got those guys that are built like that, but also fighting.
He says he's he's the little guy, which is like frightening. I don't know if you've heard him say that.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, well, make sure I keep my ass from over there.
Yeah.
Maybe we should be going over there.
Yeah. Oh man,
drinking some of that water. Crazy. So how did you go from football? You're on the cusp of fighting, and now you're the boss, and you own not only a fight promotion, Lights Out Extreme Fighting, but a channel, a whole channel.
Yeah, I think for me, my mindset was always in business. Even when I played, I had Lights Out. I bought the name and trademarks back in the mid 2000s, like 2006. So my mind was always in business, and then what helped me to launch Lights Out Extreme Fighting was I understood TV and production. Right, so that helped me out a whole lot because I was at Fox Sports and ESPN and NFL Network, WWE Network at the start of a launch of a lot of these big networks and shows. So I understood TV and production. So when I got into it, I already knew coaches, managers, fighters. I knew who were matchmakers. I knew who operations people because I've been around it for so long. So I started hiring all the right people, and then I hired in-house production from all the networks that I worked at. I was just grabbing. Engineers, I was grabbing, directors, I was grabbing producers of who I already knew and on the production side. So that's how I initially launched. And we started at Fox Sports Western Prime Ticket. So me understanding the TV business, the UFC had just left Fox and went to ESPN. So I went upstairs to like the president of Fox Sports, and I was like, yo, y'all trying to get back into MMA? And so it was a conversation like that quick, dude. I got off the Colin Cowherd. I was on a Colin Cowherd show one day, and I was thinking about launching I was in the process of launching Lights Out Extreme Fighting. So I just went upstairs to the president and Fox Sports, to those guys, and said, "Hey, I'm launching my MMA league. We're ready to go. Are you guys looking to get back in?" This is how crazy it was. I had a marketing deck, right, and I sat it down on the desk. I had it ready. They said, "Yeah, Shawne, in fact, we are looking at other MMA promotions." No problem. I got you.
Yeah, pitch deck ready.
I put it that quick. So I remember going downstairs in the Fox lot, downstairs, and before I opened my car door, my phone rang from the Fox lot, from the Fox number. I didn't recognize the number. Went back upstairs. They said, "Hey, is this yours?" I said, "Yeah." They said, when can you be ready? And I said, 2 months. I don't know if it's going to take 6 or 2. I don't know. I just said 2. I just said, I said, it's going to be done. We're going to be ready in 2, even though I don't know if we are, but we will be ready in 2. So they sent me over to Fox Sports 1 originally. I presented everything over to them, and they liked it, and then they sent me to the regionals, and that's how we started at Fox Sports Western Prime Ticket. So I negotiated that deal. But that's the thing, Fox didn't pay us initially. They just gave us a 2-hour slot. So
you had to cover all the costs.
I covered all the costs. So what I did was I went out and I got all the sponsors.
Do you have to sell the advertising slots too?
I did.
You just get a place. They say you get this time slot. You got to sell the commercials and everything.
Yep. So I did.
That's a lot of stuff.
So I went. So they gave us a 2-hour time slot. They said you got 2 hours. We're not going to pay you. But what I negotiated with Fox was to every hour you got 16 minutes worth of commercials every hour. So they got 8 minutes, and I negotiated for us to get 8 minutes of slots. So I got the sponsors, and I promised them some commercial space, which I did. So we paid for all of our shows through sponsorship, and that's how we got started.
You know what's crazy that this is even coming up is, Backyard Squabbles is new, and it's in California, and I'm going to be commentating. I was telling you with Shark from No Jumper. The CEO and the founder came to me, and he said, we got commercial time, we got all the stuff you just said, and I said, I don't know. Like, you're speaking a different language to me.
Yeah.
I'm an Army guy. Like, I'll learn, but you kind of knew already how to take advantage of that. I didn't. I kind of dropped the ball. Next fight, maybe I'll know better. But to know all that, not many. Like, you're basically, Dana White. You're doing all of it.
It's funny because, obviously I got a pretty good relationship with Dana. And, so the other day when Dana brought my name up on the podcast, people say, oh, is Dana helping you out? I was like, did Brett Favre headbutt Aaron Rodgers? No.
Yeah, you're still the...
you still
learn from each other.
Yeah, you still had the opportunity to be around him to see how things work, right? And I'm not saying if I ever text him or called him and asked him a question, he wouldn't help out. We talk a lot over text and stuff like that. But, you don't go to people. Like, if I ever go to Dana or go to the UFC or go to anybody of that magnitude, I'm going there to offer something to add value. I'm not asking for help. So if I ever do reach out to Dana, like the Power Slap, dude, I think he's going to turn Power Slap into $1 billion company at some point. Oh. And I wanted the TV rights for Power Slap. Oh. So I asked him. I said, hey, you guys are, can I get a shot? Can I jump in the bid? He was like, no, we got a big one coming. I said, how big? He said, real big. I said, okay, well, no, thank you. You guys are, good luck with that. I've been fortunate, right, because I know how these networks and know how stuff work. And also, when I go to people, I throw an opportunity to add value to whatever they're doing. And that's how I get a lot of things done. Like, I don't really go to anybody ask for help.
Same. You got to add value. Otherwise, And there's a lot of that goes on in this industry. People just want to take and take. Right. You got to add value. You have to.
What's the toughest thing, would you say, about running a promotion?
Everything's on me. So you got all these different facets. You got the matchmakers, you got production, you got operations, people that run the cage, walk the fighters out, timing, and we're live, right? So being live is a different aspect than having it taped. Having it taped, you mess up, guys come out late or somebody call the wrong name or ringing out, like, you can fix all that stuff. When it's live TV, you are on. And so typically when people come to the fight and they see me and I'm straight-faced, I'm like looking at the lights, I'm looking at, hey, if a guy's taking too long to come out, I'm calling, hey, why is the show on hold for 3 minutes? So that a lot of that goes on for me doing the show. And also, too, I think it's because the reason why I got in this business, man, is to get as many of these guys to the UFC, right? And I think that you got some of these promotions out here that want to be the UFC, and I'm like, we don't. We never want to be. Somebody can drop $250 million off me tomorrow, and I would never try to compete with the UFC because it doesn't help me or the fighters to try to do that. Now, if I can be a streamline, if I can become one of the most trusted feeders to them, you can be big on your own outright.
Right.
Because now you become the guy that everybody knows. They come and fight for Lights Out Extreme Fight, and they got a chance to go there. That I'd rather have more than trying to compete with anybody. And also, too, man, we got, like, tech. I remember we talked about the chip. So I partnered with this company called Shot Tracker. And Shot Tracker has that chip in the NBA basketball. So you ever see guys, the heat map chart when guys miss and make shots in the NBA?
This is the craziest.
So I'm going to tell you what it is.
I don't watch anything
Yeah,
else.
no, it's fine. I'm going to tell you.
The technology, it's nuts.
So the technology that show the heat map when guys are missing and making shots in the NBA. So all this technology going on. The PGA, right, to see how fast or far the ball goes. MLB, how fast.
So they're putting something in the gloves?
So I put a chip in the gloves to measure speed, power, punch, impact with a company called, we partnered with Shot Tracker.
Shot Tracker.
And so now.
SHOT?
Yeah, yep. Shot Tracker. So now we used it and we pull all this data out so we can see like how fast, velocity of a punch, G-force, like how strong the punch was, where it's landing at. We have the maps of where guys hit at. Is it back against the cage? Is this output dropping? You know, this data is crazy.
It's like a video game.
It's exactly
now, is this
a video
live
game.
data to help with the live experience?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so you got it, right? So I would say in about 90 days, we will be able to pull up, because now we train the system that built the algorithm, punches, jabs, uppercuts. So now in 90 days, we're going to be able to show and it's going to pop up instantly on the screen, how fast the punch is coming, the velocity.
You're kind of gamifying it a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. So that's my next thing. That's the next thing after that. So we're now legal in 5 states for sports wagering too. And so when you ask me what's the toughest part, it's a lot. Like shit, man. It's, you know.
Well, and the sport, to be honest, cannot survive without guys like you. We need those organizations as feeders, because not everybody starts up here.
No, there has to be a.
Yeah.
You know, you started with the Pee Wees and you work your way up, play high school, and maybe go to college. If you went right to the NFL, you'd be dead.
Yeah, you got to have organizations like that, and ones that, and it's so important that ones that know what they're doing, that are trustworthy, because if anything wrong's going to happen in the sport, like, you know, there's been deaths. It's where the incompetency in some of the smaller organizations. You haven't seen it up top.
Yeah.
I got a question, anxiety-wise, for the boss man. Most of your events are outside. I know you have some coverings and stuff.
Our last one.
Is that playing into why you're in that area of California? Because it's like the most.
Yeah. So the last one we had was in San Diego. And it was outside of Casino Palma, and it's a shit show, right? When you do it outside, because the rigging is different. You got to make sure that you got enough megs, enough, you know, Wi-Fi signaling. Like we got drone. It's cool too. We got drones.
Oh,
and
it looks
stuff.
tremendous. I love it.
But you know, me again, going back to having the best production team with these guys, Thunder Studios, who I use now, are able to go through it and rig everything. We're sending transmission before to the trucks, back to. Because now the app so now everything is live there. So there's all this testing before it even happens. And sometimes especially outside, you might have some problems where, you know, there's a uplink or downlink or some kind of IP that's not connecting, and you're like, shit, the fight about to start in an hour. We don't have the English. The English is not kicking in, only the Spanish. And so you're panicking. And then 15 minutes before, I'm like, oh, okay, we're good. And I'm like, God damn, guys, like, you're going to drive me crazy.
That would give me I get anxiety ask my wife, but whenever there's like lights out or any of my friends doing awesome, significant stuff, like I'll be like, damn, I hope it doesn't rain Friday. That's the first thing that comes to mind, because I know you guys are outside. Speaking of where it doesn't rain a lot, have you talked to Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia? They got a lot of money. They're throwing in at fighters.
I think, right, so like, I don't have any partners in none of my businesses. It's just me. And I'm able to go out and, because of my relationships with people, bring in the best people in the business, whether on the production side, network side, operations side. You know, I have a really, really tight-knit team. And I'm not just running where the money is. Like, the money going to come. I'm not worried about that. My thing is we want to perfect, like, these gloves and, like, the streaming service, making sure everything is, like, top-notch. We got some cool AI stuff coming. And so when we get to that point, you know, I think that people watching us, right? And that's the good thing about having distribution and being all these, we're everywhere, right? You can be in any bar right now, go look on any regional bodies. We're playing right now somewhere in the country. And so I want as much distribution as possible so people know about us, so people see us. I think that because there's so much money out there now, Saudi Arabia and Dubai and you know, just all these places that's willing to say, here. Well, you haven't perfected shit yet. And I'm not trying to be an organization to go out and raise a few $100 million and still losing money and ain't figuring shit out. Or you're using somebody else's money to go through your trials and tribulations. No, we got our shit perfected now. And so when I do raise money, when we do bring in like massive capital, we're good.
Yeah.
We're efficient. I'm not trying to go and raise money on the three-legged table. I'm good on that.
Right.
And you guys have amateurs too?
Yeah.
And so what are the laws with the amateurs over there? I've heard they don't get paid.
Yeah, we can't pay them.
Why is that?
you can't pay any amateur really.
Like they told me that for the fights I'm commentating.
So you're doing a mix of amateurs
And
like
pro.
on the prelims and then the pro. That's a great idea.
Yeah, no, it's they do a ton of stuff.
And dude, this is different about us. So even when I was at Fubo, a lot of these streaming services didn't want to show the amateurs. They're on TV.
They're some of the best fights though. These dudes are bringing it.
So, and I was like this close from walking away from deals because they wouldn't show amateurs.
What was their reasoning?
Because with the amateurs, they got the shin pads on. It doesn't look, whatever. And then our amateurs that fight actually can turn pro at any time they want. They had 5, 10, whatever plus fights, so they can turn pro at any given time. We're not getting like first time amateurs off the street. These guys all have 5+ fights.
Right.
So the quality of our amateurs look pro. And so that was my whole thing. So I'm like, if we show the amateurs, if we get them on TV and people see who they are, then people can follow their careers all the way through. Like, oh, I remember him from 2 shows ago, and now he's turning pro on Lights Out Extreme Fighting. So I literally, man, a few times almost walked away from big deals because they wouldn't want to show the amateurs. So I fought for them, and it worked. They said, we'll try it out one time. If it looks good, we'll keep it. And I was like, dude, y'all, I went back there and told the fighter, I said, y'all better go ahead and swing. Y'all better go out here and fucking swing because I'm pushing to make sure y'all have visibility on TV, and it worked out, and we've been showing amateurs ever since.
That's crazy. You can't pay them though. Some of these guys are, I'm 38. Some of them are like, they got families.
Well, what I had a problem with is the Olympics, is that they bring in so much money.
College football,
and it's like a lot of these guys get medals, and they have no life. They spend their whole life getting the money that their families spent to get them to Olympic, and then it's like there's nothing after that. I don't know why people do it.
I think
at least in college sports, they're starting to let them have control over their life.
If you do it right. If you do it right, when I tell anybody that don't make the money that they're looking for, if you do it right through sponsors, building a relationship with some of these guys, you should set yourself up for life no matter what, because you're still in a position where people want to see you. They want to be around you. They want to work with you. They want to pay you for something else, maybe not for what you're doing. So I tell any of these guys, I was like, make sure you talk to these sponsors. Make sure you talk to these people around the organization or whatever you're doing, because that's where you build the long-term relationship with these guys that, hey, when your career is done, you may be working at that company. You may be working there. So just that's where you make your money at.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Like with college, they're able to make money now in college, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a cap on it.
Do you think that was a long time coming?
It was a long time coming, but I think that this whole NIL stuff and everything is going to get out of hand. It's like the Wild Wild West. And the problem is that you guys, they should have been getting paid. The NCAA should have been giving them something up, like let them make money off their jerseys, their name, a signing, something, right? Like Johnny Manziel getting that fine or fraction, whatever he got back in college for his own signing his own jerseys of footballs. It's stupid. He's signing his name. His name, he should be worth something. The problem with the NCAA, they were so stingy and selfish for so long that now they're forced to, like, colleges are suing them for trying to step in now with the NIL and winning. Colleges are suing the NCAA and winning, where they should have been making money a long time ago. But the biggest issue is, and Nick Saban said this, right? Like when he retired, imagine some 17-year-old kid across from you who's never done anything on the field, saying that, hey, give me $500,000 or I'm not coming here. Imagine. Yeah. And this guy, and I'm not saying all of them, but this particular guy, this particular kid turned out to be a bust, second stringer. Don't pan out in the football field. And now you got him sitting across from you asking for astronomical amounts of money because of what he's projected to do. That's the problem. That's going to be the biggest issue in college sports. Not the ones that are going to turn out first rounders.
Right.
It's going to be the ones that you're never going to hear from again that's sitting around asking for $250,000 or $500,000 to do anything.
Well, I don't feel sorry for the colleges. They're taking money, subsidies from the government. But the problem is when they get out into the free market and come to like promotions like yours, it's like you don't have deep pockets like colleges, which have government money. You're on your own. And so the expectations can be like out of whack.
I wanted to ask you about next month. Is a Contender Series is coming up.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been. Have you been to the Contender Series?
I haven't been. No.
We'll go. I'll hook it up.
Yeah.
It's every Tuesday for like 7 weeks. Dana White's Contender Series. Have you thought about that and like throwing some names in the hat? Because that's some of your best guys. I've seen you have some high level dudes. But that would be like that's next, right?
Yeah, yeah. And again, and I talked to Dana about this at the MMA Awards.
Yeah,
show.
I saw you there. Yeah,
we were talking. And so I was like, look, you know, some of our best talent, we would love for them to come to Dana White's Contender Series. You know, but again, you have to build up to this process in order to do it, right? I think there's so many people want to come out and be like the big dogs. We don't. I want to be as efficient and solid as possible before we start making any major moves in that way. I want to make sure that when they go to Dana's Contender Series, they go to the UFC, that they are getting our best, right? They fought the best, and they're going to represent Lights Out Extreme Fighting and create that funnel. But it starts with a hell of a foundation, man. Because if you don't, I don't. Like I said, I'm not going to Dana or anybody for that matter to ask them for a favor. I'm going because I can. Hey, I think this guy got a chance to be the next world champion.
Yep.
Right. So.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the champions that came from Contender. You know, how do you structure your like main event? I know sometimes, at least in the UFC, it'll be like the heavier guys are the main event. Do you care about that? Do you just go off talent?
It's a combination of both, right? Because you might have the ticket sellers early on in the card. You got some big ticket sellers, and then your main event, co-main event may be big names, but not big ticket sellers. So we've had situations where half the room was empty by the time the main event and co-main event, because our bigger ticket sellers was at the end. So what we did was as a combination of both, is take that in effect of who's selling tickets, like who has the most people there, right, and have them maybe 2 or 3 fights before the main event, and kind of move that around. But sometimes, you know, your main event and co-main event are just bigger name fighters, but not your ticket seller. So we always look at taking account for both.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I wanted to ask a little bit about like Jake Paul's got a fight coming on. Donald Trump, just got shot, things like that.
Yeah.
I know you wanted to ask, like, what do you think with the Jake Paul?
I think the Mike Perry fight makes sense, and. Yeah, I've got a pretty decent relationship with Jake, and I seen him work from the start. When he first started fighting in 2019, I got invited up to Shane Mosley's house in Big Bear. And I went up there, stayed with Shane and Jake and all the guys for like a week. And that was my first time seeing Jake Paul up close working. So outside of him being a YouTuber, and I think he had that one YouTube fight that I really I don't think anybody took serious, but
he's a beast now.
I saw him working. Right, I saw him working, running hills, sparring other guys that had 6 or 10 pro fights, and getting after him, getting clocked, coming right back. And I was like, this dude gonna be something. I don't know how far he's gonna take it, but he's gonna make a lot of noise in the industry, because there's very few times you get somebody with a big following, as he already did, to now be able to fight. It has to be the perfect combination to happen, right? Because if you have a big following, you're gonna get your ass whipped. Nobody cares. Or if you are a good fighter, but you don't have a big following, also, nobody cares.
Right.
So it has to be that perfect combination. So when I saw him working, me being around as many professional athletes as I have my whole entire life, I saw him working. I said, this dude, he's going to be a big deal in this sport. And he's done. People can say what they want about Jake. He's done a lot of shit in this sport for somebody who's just getting into fighting.
Well, and the MMA fighters are wanting to do some boxing, and that's available because Jake created that environment.
Yeah,
that wasn't there before. I mean, you can say, well, Conor did his one with Mayweather, but nobody was like, everybody's jumping in the pool right now. Everybody sees that money, that opportunity.
Yeah, and Jake's a big part of that, whether people want to admit it or not. Now, you can talk about his tactics and how he go about it. It doesn't matter. People watch, right? They either watch him because they want to see how he does, or they want to watch him lose. It doesn't matter as long as they're watching. So, yeah, I think the Mike Perry fight makes sense because Mike is crazy as hell.
He's nuts,
dude. Mike is nuts, and he's perfect for the sport. He's perfect for bare knuckle for sure. But I think he's perfect to sell a fight and also be able to put on a show.
And they have a history too.
Yeah,
do they?
They sparred like 4 years ago.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you think Tyson's gonna end up fighting?
I think it'll happen, but I think the steam is off of it, right? I think the steam is off of it. For one, the worst thing I think that could have happened in that situation is he had a health problem. People are already worried about him fighting because of his age, because of his health. And the fact that the fight didn't happen yet because of his health, it just takes his steam off a little bit on what it was, right? I think that Mike, because of who he is always going to have a chance to go out and put on a show, right? He's going to he still could knock you out if it lands right. He still had that capability, but I think that the steam is off a little bit now because of the push. Now, if it happened because of injury in a ring or something like that, it happened because of health, and that part I think it just kind of took the steam away a little bit from the fight.
Yeah, you may be right.
People are concerned. I mean, what is he? He'll be 59.
He'll be 59.
Well, if he's
okay.
our president, does it really matter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but he will always. It's still Mike
Yeah.
Tyson.
yeah.
Who wouldn't want to watch that?
Yeah.
I'd like to see him fight. I don't know, maybe like a George Foreman, somebody that's George Foreman's probably older. I think he's like 62, but yeah.
No,
Who do you think wins with that? I think
if they went a little bit harder, I think that Mike and Roy Jones was a great fight. Yeah, that's that type of matchup is great. I just don't know if they were stepping on the gas.
just like
they
Chael
could've.
and Silva, you saw that
Yeah.
they just boxed. They were like they weren't even punching each other.
Right.
It was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
and, look, people can say what they want. Would you pay for it? Right? Like, would you pay for it? You know, and people can say what they want about the Tyson Jake Paul fight. It was on Netflix. They're going to watch.
I'd still pay for it.
Yeah, and you still pay for it. Yeah, so would I. I mean, so would I. Yeah. As far as Donald, you asked Donald.
Yeah,
Trump.
so
Donald
that just
Trump,
happened. Our ex-president Donald Trump was just assassination attempt. What was going on? When did you find out about?
I watched it live, and so we're really close friends with Donald Trump and and Don Jr. Yeah, really good friends for 15 years now, 16
He's
years.
a patriot.
Oh, wow.
That's why I love Shawne so much.
Yeah.
He does so much for my community, the veterans, the combat vets, more than any other celebrity I've seen. A lot of guys will say it. They don't really give a shit. He's not looking for clout. You might, if you're lucky, you might see that he's doing it, but he's not out there trying to get views for it. He just does it because every single time you're getting tickets, you're getting guys to show up, guys in uniform, showing love. So, I mean, I thank you for that because a lot of us are lost, and he's a vet too.
And I think that the reason why I do it is there's a lot of similarities from guys that retire from sports. It's mainly football and in the military. A lot of more similarities than you know. And I've sat and had hundreds of conversations with guys, and this is the reason why I do it. And work with Camp Pendleton, Miramar, Coronado, Andrews Air Force Base back in Maryland, you name it. So I've been kind of doing a lot. But as far as Donald Trump and what happened, I was watching it live. I was watching it live when it happened.
Did you realize? Wow, somebody's trying to kill him.
So when it happened, I thought he was swatting it like a bug. I thought like some bee or something because he kind of swatted. So I thought it was like a bee. And then I heard the gunshots and I heard him drop. So I teared up. Because I thought that
Same.
I teared up, man, because I thought that we've all watched the former president get assassinated on live TV. And I was tearing up because obviously I'm close with Donald Trump Sr. and I'm close with Jr. And after it hit me that he's okay, I text Don Jr. right away. I text him, and I was like, man, I was damn near, I almost cried. I mean, I thought we seen him get assassinated on TV, live TV, and I was shaking. I was shaking like hell, man, because it was so unexpected. And I was on my phone and I had my laptop in front of me and I wasn't really paying attention. And I just so happened to glance up for a second, like 5 seconds before it happened. I was like, damn, and they were outside, so it's easy to think that a bug or a bee might have, So I was like, damn, he was getting stung. Somebody, and then I heard the gunshots, and I seen him drop. And at that point, I thought he was hit. I thought he was shot. And that's when I started to kind of tear up a little bit because I was like, damn, did we just see
The end of it.
I was in shock. My wife was in tears. I mean, history. We're same age.
Yeah.
We haven't lived through. We've heard a lot about
Yeah.
Possible assassination attempts. But we weren't alive for it.
No.
And if we were, we didn't remember. We were babies.
Yeah.
So
Well,
to
I
see
was
this,
for
I was going to
for
call you out
Reagan.
there, old
Yeah.
man.
I'm old enough for that,
But like that he's the third president
But he wasn't
president
assassinated,
to ever
Reagan wasn't.
almost, and it
Yeah.
was that. I mean, I've had bullets. Literally, I felt the heat in Iraq, and I was like, almost taking,
Yeah.
That was as close as it could have ever been, and it breaks my heart to have to.
Yeah, I even now texting, I'm getting a feeling that when I saw it and when I text Don Jr. And I just told him, I said, thank God everything okay. Tell him I love him. I hope everything is good. But I think the disturbing part of all that is I've seen when the reaction to some of these people. I don't care what side you're on. Anytime you start to hope that something bad happens to a person because you disagree with his political views. I've unfollowed 10 people that I knew after that, and who's always been hardcore Democrats, and I never had. I got friends that are Democrats. I got friends who are, senators and councilmen and all this on the Democrats.
But when you cross that line,
there was the first time that through this whole, even it's the hardcore guy. You should be able to vote for whoever you want to, and it should never be a problem. For the first time, I took a stance where I unfollowed people, now I'm not talking to them anymore because I seen them make comments that they wish something had happened or they were disappointed that something didn't happen. Because I don't want to know you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to associate with you at all if that's your stance. If you disagree with his political views, I got no problem with that. We can still be friends. I'm voting for him. He's always had my support. And I never really talk social media publicly. I mean, politics publicly. I never talk it on social media ever. Because I truly believe that a celebrity or somebody's vote shouldn't influence somebody else's. You should be able to vote for whoever you want to. It's the first time ever that I sat back, and I'm talking about through the whole COVID shit, through vaccine, whatever your stance, I had no problems with nothing. The second you start to celebrate somebody's attempted assassination, fuck you. Yeah. That's my stance. Because I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to be friends. I don't want to associate with anybody that wants somebody's hurt or wounded or killed because of their different political views. So it was the first time that I actually took a stance in this whole politics BS that we got going on, where I do not want to talk to or associate with anybody that think like that.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
His kids were watching, his grandkids.
But you know what?
And not to mention the firefighter that got hit and lost his life. You know, that part alone, and I know the former President Trump was okay, but somebody lost their life who was just there, had nothing to do with anything, who was a firefighter, who possibly could have ran in a house and saved you from a burning building or house, regardless of what your political stance were. If you're in a house, you're burning. That the firefighter that passed away, he's not saying, man, that guy's a Democrat. I'm not going in and saving his life.
Right.
So outside of you hoping that something happened to the former president, some innocent man with a family who was guarding his family lost his life. So now it's at the point now where I start to see that ugly shit. I'm taking a stance. I don't give a damn who cares about anything. You do that, and I'm on the other side. Period.
Yeah. Because I mean, are we not all Americans? And it's like
people forgot. But I've never publicly spoke about anything politics. When that happened, I posted a couple posts about Trump because, I mean, look at me. I look like I sell Bibles and Trump hats out of my trunk. I'm a white dude with face tattoos. I fit the description perfectly, you know. But I lived in the Bay Area. I went to cosmetology school, barber school. I got gay friends. Not this one.
Not some of the rest of them.
The rest of them. That was so funny. I was scared to say it. I was like, he's a big boy. He takes us wrong. We're going through the glass.
We should have did that.
But the country just needs to. On a lighter note,
you know what though? What I thought. What did you think though when he rose up and he rose his hand?
I think. I think, listen, that him raising his hand was harder than any NWA album that's ever dropped, ever. You know, because I think that was just a sign of resilience, and then me also knowing him personally, like off camera, it's just who he is. And
it's so visceral.
It was a thing that you couldn't plan. If somebody's just making an attempt on your life, you're not thinking of showing how resilient you are. You're more thinking of how the hell can I get out of here and get away from this situation. That wasn't what happened. He said, wait. I'm going to show everybody that I'm good. That's him, right? And so, I think that sent the message to everybody who is against him, everybody who is an opponent, everybody who actually wanted something to happen to him, that he's not going anywhere. And it was so important for all of us to see, because that could have been you, not in the physical sense somebody assassinated, but somebody want you not to be successful. Somebody wants something to happen to you, not get to the point where you need to be in your life. And that was a resilient message to everybody to show you're not going to be stopped. And I think that was bigger than what happened to him. That resonated through a lot of people.
Oh yeah, that's what I think the country needed right there. Is that we're going to be okay and to keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, it's been wild. But that's why I love fighting, because I don't care if you're a Democrat. Everybody that speaks that language, fighting.
yeah.
Can I ask you off topic, off aside of fighting? Would you ever do a roast like Tom Brady did?
Hell no.
I watched that thing.
My tempo wouldn't line up with that, man. Like because okay, this is the thing. You know, it was funny. First of all, you know, I mean, obviously Tom Brady is to go on the field. I think that goaded him off the field. I really do, because
that's gangster.
You got to have some balls to do that, man. Because especially when your life is so public already, like his life is public. He has his wife, his kids, his, you know, the Spygate stuff, the Deflate. I mean, everything.
Especially the timing.
The timing of it.
And live too.
Yeah, and live. And so, it's a couple of those jokes. You're like, ha 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 ha. That's some funny shit, right? There's a couple of those jokes. Like you say that one more time, and I'm getting up.
And
right?
I think he did at one point.
It was
Tony Hinchcliffe. I think
he
said in his ear.
The owner, Robert Kraft. That was the one he said. That's it. You know, you're going too far.
I was surprised he showed up too, Robert Kraft.
Yeah.
His age.
Robert Kraft is great, man. Like, I've had some great conversations with him, and I see why they won so many games.
Yeah.
You know, and just his personality and the way he thinks. He's like the ultimate, like your boy.
Yeah,
he's like your boy, man. He's great.
So they come to you tomorrow. Shawne Merriman, $25 million cash. $30 million, you're not doing it.
What's
the roast?
I think everything has a price to it, right? I'm not gonna say no. You're not gonna do a roast for $25 million. Of course you are.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't do it for whatever. They just wanted an award. Winning an award, they gonna get me to do a roast. I tell you that. I give him a lot of credit for doing that.
Yeah, that's wild. So next week, where we close out, I know you got an event coming up.
Yep.
Super excited for that. Can you give us a little bit about the event? What's going on?
Yeah.
And your time. Like, do you have them? Is there a set every quarter we're going to do a fight, or how does that schedule work?
We're running a fight every 4 to 6 weeks, which is pretty consistent. And I hope to, in 2025, get to like 2 a month.
Oh, wow.
You know, or at least 18 a year, somewhere around there.
Are they mostly in California?
Mostly in California, but we'll be Texas, Nevada, Arizona, sometime in 2025. The rest of them be in California for the rest of the year. And then 2025 we got one fight up in Arizona, one in Texas, one in Nevada, and then we'll run that circuit for 2025 in California.
And where does everybody go? And we'll have this in the show notes.
Casino Palma, right?
This one's Long Beach. This one's Long Beach.
Or where do they go online?
So they can download Lights Out Sports TV.
Okay.
And Lights Out Sports TV is available on every major CTV platform. So your Roku's, Apple TVs, Amazon Fire,
so
iOS.
The apps are on there. You
can go right there and search Lights Out Sports TV. It'll pop up, completely free. And we got a bunch of other sports and stuff there. And then this Friday, the 250 sports movies and documentaries will be up.
Awesome.
And so this one we got 16 fights lined up. We got 9 amateur and 7 pro. Yeah. I mean, 7 pro, 9 amateur. This fight, and so we typically have a 4-hour show, which we typically love, because when I was at these other streaming services, we go too long. I get texts like, "Hey, when y'all going off?" Now I go as long as I was like, "Hey, throw another fight in there." Go, lay on the ground a little bit more.
Well, and it's good because you need to build these guys up.
Yeah,
you need the UFC needs them.
Yeah, man. I think we got every fight that we have. I think legitimately we got about 2 guys on that card, right, who has a real shot to go to the UFC. We try to put together cards. We have some realistically up and coming guys who can be a superstar. You got some guys who fought in the UFC. Like we had the last fight, we had Jared Madera, right, who fought in the UFC, had a nice run. Some of these guys are looking to get back. Albert Morales, who fought for us, he also fought in the UFC, looking to possibly get back. So we'll have those guys that are trying to get there, but we'll have some that have some fights there, maybe had a couple losses and got off the roster and trying to get an opportunity to get back. So if we're lining up to be a official feeder for them, I love that.
And to end this off, since you've had your foot in the most popular sport in America, and then the best sport in America, I would say, MMA.
It's up there.
What are your top three? 1 to 3, the top 3 sports in the world.
I think football will always be king. It's all my first love, like what I wanted to do when I was 10 years old. So that part of it is never going to go away. Football will always be king. But I always loved the violence of MMA and combat sports. I always loved the violence. And I love the violence of one-on-one violence where whatever you do, your training habits dictate what's going to happen in that fight, right? When you're on a team sport, if a guy misses block, you're screwed. You're screwed. Yeah. You know, or a guy is not in
You can't pass the blame.
You can't pass the blame, right? I mean, if you get a little tired, you tap your head, come out for a couple plays. In that cage, you get tired, you better hold on.
Yeah, it's coming.
Because it's coming.
And what would your third one be?
Basketball.
Basketball.
Yeah, big basketball. Because I played basketball first too. So,
okay.
You know, so in those order. But NASCAR's neck and neck with NASCAR. Man, I'm a big NASCAR fan.
What did you play? Forward?
Yeah, I played at 3 and 4.
Okay.
3 and 4. But I used to own a team on the Canyon Series in NASCAR.
Oh,
I've been to the what is it, the Monster Mile in Delaware. I used to go to. I used to have a tire.
Let me. I would put NASCAR 3 in the NBA.
Okay.
And basketball 4. Yeah, I'm big NASCAR fan.
Who was your favorite basketball player growing up?
Well, Kobe's my favorite player of all time. But
rest in peace. His pops just passed.
Yeah, I saw that. And then AI, because AI grew up in Virginia and I grew up in Maryland, so we were right there. So I watched AI. Like everybody wanted to be MJ and all these commercials and stuff. Like no. Where I'm from, you want to be AI with the cornrows, the tats, the jewelry, the cars. Like I grew up seeing AI like that, and so everybody wanted to kind of be
shoes
AI.
in the game.
Yeah, the answer.
I have a question too, real quick for both of you guys, because maybe I just forgot. We got the interim heavyweight champion. He's going to defend his interim heavyweight champ. Has that ever happened before?
What's that though?
The heavyweight belt, is John Jones.
Right.
He's out. Whatever. So Tom Aspinall is the interim heavyweight.
Right.
He's going to actually defend his interim heavyweight belt.
Yeah.
This month or so. I've never seen an interim like. I think he's the champ. I love John Jones. But has that ever happened before?
I think that
Not that I can remember.
it's all okay. So I get why he's doing it. I mean, if John Jones never got hurt, then a lot of stuff would be sped up, right? And you can't do that. And also, too, what John Jones has done for the sport of MMA, you can't just strip him of anything. You can't do it because, for one, he should be undefeated. That he shouldn't even have a loss. But the second part of that is for somebody who has literally taken every fight that was offered. Right, he's never backed out of no fights, never said no. He fought whoever the best was at that time, and he has a freak accident where he gets hurt. I mean, John is fought in there with
except for Chael Sonnen that one time.
Yeah,
well, he didn't want to fight him, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think his coach was pushing him not to take the fight.
Well, yeah. So John's fought in there with broken toes, like
everybody.
And he's
the GOAT.
He's a GOAT,
definitely.
And so you can't strip anything from him because he's too important to the sport. He's too big of a name, and he's done too much, right? And so you can't do that. So I understand why that's happening, but I can't wait because you got somebody that's willing to always knock off the king. Like, still to this day, Dominic Reyes was John Jones' biggest challenge, in my opinion.
I think he won.
But again, when you've done so much for the sport, you're the champion. You have to go in and convincingly beat the challenger. You got to dominate him where there's no excuse.
Round 5, he was losing. John was winning at the end of the fight.
So look, if you want to go, 50-50, that's not enough.
Yeah,
gotcha.
That's not enough. You can't strip of somebody like you. Got to convincingly go in there and beat the champ. You can't. It can't go the other way around.
I'm excited for the Sphere. You think you're going to go to the Sphere?
Yeah, I'm going to try to. Look, the reason why Dana's hyping it up because they're going to do something and shit on everybody.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be one of those things like, it's like, somebody go out and they got a nice car or whatever. You pull up into like a $500,000 fucking Bentley, just like put your shit back in the garage. You know what I mean? Like it's one of them. And I mean, but me knowing production and knowing what they're gonna do, they're gonna lose a ton of money. This is not a money making event.
I think he said they've already
16
spent,
million.
Yeah, 16, 17 million. When he said it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so you got to think of just the production and stuff alone. You can never, even they sell that thing out and they double the ticket prices, you're still not gonna make money.
Yeah, no, this is strictly Dana White laying his dick on the table.
Yeah, this is you saying we're gonna separate ourselves even more from everybody else, and it's never gonna be done again because for one, you can't afford it, and two, we're going through a process where you can't even duplicate it or recreate what we're about to do. And so I think it's going to be one of those things. It's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime situation because they actually have the money to sustain a loss like that. But also, too, when you have something that's going to be so monumental, this fight with the spear is going to be talked about for the next 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Like when they show all these like former fights and this is going to be shown on every platform from your networks to your social media for the next 15 years. So that's why they're doing it. This is a legacy fight for UFC.
I think Conor and Chandler show up on that card.
The sad thing is that they will. I've been to the Sphere for two things: a concert and another thing. They'll never be able to capture that. So what they capture for pay-per-view and for posterity in the future to go, this is what it was like. They'll never capture what happened inside. That will be. You have to be there to experience it, and that will be a one-time moment.
This is like an archive moment where every part of there's going to be so many different aspects outside the cage leading up to it. There's going to be shows and recreations. Like if you know you're going to lose this type of money, you bet you get the most out of it. Get all this as much content, show the programming, side stuff as you can. Like all this side shit is going to go on that people are not even going to see until a year from now. So that's ultimately how you attempt to make your money back is by recreating content that's going to be distributed for the next 5 years by all the show the programming. But they're going to lose their ass from this one for sure.
Do you think they want to have like Conor and Chandler on this, or do you think they'd lose too much? Do you want to have
it lines up
a
perfectly?
big one
They were supposed to fight, and
could they make their money back through the pay-per-view if they had a Conor, or would it cost them too much to get a Conor?
So you're not, even if you max that place out, they're going to sell out obviously tickets.
Right.
The sponsorships they already got locked. They're going to be making top dollar sponsors. You're not going to make your money back there. So the only way that you could look to break even or even possibly make some money is you throw Chandler and
Conor. Yeah,
Conor
the gate alone might pay back 80%. You know.
Yeah, because those pay-per-view buys that go up probably another $500,000 by having them there.
Yeah, O'Malley and McGregor. And I know we're out of time, brother, and I appreciate you a lot. Yeah.
No, if you guys gotta keep going. Like,
Oh,
I don't have one after. So you're good.
Yeah, so we'll wrap this up. Shawne, man,
Yeah.
thanks for coming on the show and talking, opening up. And
I have one last thing. If a fighter wanted to get a hold of you or a coach to get, in front of you guys to show that they want to be a part of Lights Out, like what is that process? Because I'm new to this game. Like if J-Rock didn't bring you, how the hell would I be friends with Shawne Merriman?
Yeah.
I don't know. How did you go through that process to be able to get in front of you?
Oh, well, we got all this stuff up in the bio, how to reach out our matchmakers and how to get a hold of us that way. And it's funny you said that because I made a joke the other day. Normally somebody like me will have hot chicks in their DM, but it's all fighters looking for fights, which actually I prefer. I prefer the fighters in there because it wasn't like you talked about this past year how we kind of just really blew up, and every single day that goes by, like somebody's sending me a tag of them in some bar, restaurant, lounge, and Lights Out is on all over the country. And so when you have that, like now you have fighters, we got some killers coming up from Goat Shed in Miami. Right.
Oh, I'm friends with President Awesome.
Yeah. He's great, dude. He's a character. He's out. He's amazing. So
have you been to Karate Combat?
I haven't yet.
I was there with them hanging out. It was cool.
Yeah, no, they got their production and all that stuff is top notch. He comes to our fights. We got a couple fighters that we just signed one from Goat Shed, and so they got some killers. So again, when you're in this business or around as long as I have, some of the top upcoming guys that's coming, but they all reach out through social media and get a hold of us. Yeah.
Have you seen what he posts like said the funny
I'm
videos.
never on social media.
So
Listen, he's just under a fucking rock,
Yeah,
man. Like,
I know.
he's like,
I
look,
do.
we don't watch sports, we don't watch anything. He's gay, all kind of shit.
But I did see on Wikipedia is like, some tequila girl. I remember her.
Yeah.
That's
It's
back
like-
in 2009.
I don't think he's gay.
No. But I want to, before we close, I want to show you. So it's hilarious. I'll send him videos or tag him too. I'm sure the whole world. What do you get? 1 million of these people. So what I'm talking about for the everyone watching is people will get knocked out brutally across the world.
Yeah.
And whatever clip or 30 seconds is shown of that knockout lights out immediately is getting tagged.
Oh,
so the whole world is sending him people. My question is, how did that get started? And have you actually like flown anyone out as a fan to come to a fight?
So how that starts? What he's calling is I have these sign them up and don't sign them up videos. And it's always somebody getting.
So people in the comments will go, okay.
they'll tag him
Right,
and say sign
yeah.
him
Yeah,
up.
okay.
So how that started is, obviously we talked about like just lights out extreme fighting, getting more eyeballs and stuff around the country. So people obviously know me in the fight game. So some of these fighters will reach out and they will want to come and fight for lights out extreme fight. So they will send me whatever promotion, whoever they fought for. They would send us a video of this my last fight. So obviously some of these guys are dogs, like just straight killers. And I say, okay, yeah, I can sign this guy, or I can sign this girl. And it got to a point where some of these fighters would send us stuff, and they were terrible. Like one guy sent me something of him getting knocked out, and I was like, why would
I could take a hit, boss.
I was like, you got something else? You got like, look, everybody loses a fight, but if you're trying. If you're trying to get like, if you're trying to
But
get
look how
signed,
my head hit the ground.
you're like,
I got right back up.
So
5 minutes later,
I thought it was a mistake. I asked the fighter. I said, "Hey, did you send this by accident or like what?" And it was a clip of him getting knocked. I mean, I'm talking brutally knocked out. His arms was flailing all over. It was bad, right? Legs in the air. It was terrible. And I was like, man, look, everybody loses a fight. You're not gonna win every one, but you got to send something better than this. So I said, he's like, no, that was my last one, and I got one before, and I got knocked out in that one too.
This guy is a great promoter.
Yeah. So this happened a few times, right? This happened a few times. So I said, hold on, wait a minute. Sign him up. Don't sign him up. Right, and I started thinking about, I said, this is something here. Like, this shit is too funny not to figure this out.
So how was the start?
And he does it with the sunglasses. And all. It's like perfect. Watch, gets knocked out.
Is this the guy?
This
There's
is just
just-
one.
Was that a woman hitting him?
It was a guy. So I started thinking. I said, man, this is too funny. I said, I could sign this guy. I can't sign him. So it happened like 5 times. And finally, I said, no, I got to do something with this. So I started finding knockout videos. And the first one I put, it was like, sign him up. And it got like 350,000 views. I said, holy shit, right? This is crazy. And then one after that, I put, guy got knocked out in a negative way. And I put, don't sign him up. That one got like 500,000 views. And I said, holy shit. And the people were dying laughing. So even now, man, I was in Jersey with I was in Sarasota, dropped my son off at the IMG Academy 2 weeks ago. And there's 2 guys rolled up to me. They wasn't even from here. They had accents, like Italian accent. They were from Italy, somewhere in Europe. And they was like, don't sign them up. And I was like, holy shit. But I laugh now because it's happened all over the country, Wow. So I've been like Miami. One time I was in Miami and I was going to Prime. I was going to Prime one night. And it was kind of dark, and I parked down the street because the valet was full. So I parked down the street, and I was walking, and a car, had been going 20 miles an hour, slammed up almost on the curve. And so I'm thinking I'm about to get robbed or some shit, right? It was something. I was like, something's going on. It's frightening the hell out of me. Got 2 guys. They rolled down the window. Sign them up. It was 6 people in the car. 6 people. And when they did, man, it caught me so off guard. I was laughing so hard. I was on my hands and knees in the middle of the street. I could not stand up. I was like crying, laughing.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so but people enjoying it. It'd be like older women. You're the sign them up. guy.
Wow.
You know, that don't even know that I played football. So I always thought that was
Wow,
that was
the
pretty
power
fun.
I
of
enjoy it.
social
media.
I love it. I tag him and all this
Well,
stuff.
that's the first time I've seen it because I do
Yeah.
live under a rock, and that's
why you got
great.
me.
I mean, I didn't expect your head to pop up.
Oh,
and
with the
sign him up.
sunglasses.
Yeah,
Great
yeah,
timing.
That's been cool.
Well, hey, I appreciate
Always, bro.
you know,
Appreciate
you
it.
always
Thanks for having
support me and having my back, and it means a lot. It really
Yeah.
does. I'm proud of you too. I always tell you that.
Thanks,
Keep
bro.
slaying it. MMA
Yeah.
Weekly.
Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on, dude. Thank you.
Sign him up, bitch.